You took the bank's mistaken $12 million transfer and spent it all at once on unfinished properties. It all started after the bank rejected your $1,200 loan 365 times, only for your phone to receive a mistaken $12 million transfer. The text even showed the sender as the municipal engineering office. Anyone who has handled money like this knows that this money can't be touched. Touch it, and you go to jail. Just as you were thinking that, the debt default system suddenly awakened. Every month you owe $1,500 equals 1 point. Looking at the system, even a random item was technology that could change your life. No way. You were tempted. $1,200 a month, $14,000 a year. A few years in jail would mean hundreds of thousands of points. As long as you could keep this money, it would be a goose that lays golden eggs. Even if you really went to jail, you could trade technology for a reduced sentence, or even a Dragon King-style release. After a few years inside, you'd come out fully leveled up and build a tech empire. You began thinking about how to keep the money. How could you spend $12 million fast? A transfer wouldn't work. Normal spending wouldn't work either. It could all be recovered too easily. Buying cars or houses would take too long, and could still be reversed. Suddenly, your eyes lit up. By unfinished buildings, those developers were already deep in debt. They were practically ready to jump off a roof. If the money reached their hands, it would vanish in less than 5 minutes. After all, plenty of people were chasing them for debts. If the bank tried to recover it from people like that, that clearly wouldn't be easy. And the key point was, once the developer had money, after settling debts, would he keep getting loans? If he did keep going, the money wouldn't be wasted. It might even make a profit. Even if the developer ran away, you would already have the points. Once the points were yours, you wouldn't lose. At worst, you'd go to jail or repay the $12 million later. Today was the 21st. If you could drag it out 9 days, you'd get 8,000 points. So you looked up the nearest unfinished project, took out your phone, and called the sales office. Hello? A crisp female voice answered. I want to buy a house. Sorry, sir. What did you say? The other side was very surprised. I think your boss can make it through this. I want to buy a house, and I want several units. Your prices must be very low right now, right? Ask your boss. Okay, sir, please hold. The other party sounded a little incredulous. Is someone joking with me so we can get promoted? Promoted? My ass. I'm about to ascend to heaven. Wang Yaozu, boss of Wang Real Estate, looked stunned. Really, Mr. Wang? He says he wants to buy several units and asked about our current prices. Give me the number. I've seen plenty of suckers, but never one who comes begging to die. This guy is even more absurd than joining the nationalists in 1949. Wang Yaozu grew suspicious. Soon, an unfamiliar number called in. Hello, are you the one who wants to buy property? Wang Yaozu's voice was full of doubt. That's me. I want to know the current price. The price of Henjia Langshuan. Are you sure you're not trying something? Let me be straight with you. If you're trying to get information from me, I can tell you directly. A $44 million bank loan is about too mature. I've borrowed everything I could. The cash in my hands isn't enough to repay it. I'm already preparing to sell the project. If you're an owner, you don't need to worry about unfinished homes. Yunhai Group will acquire Henjia Langshuan, but when that happens, you'll most likely have to pay the new company an extra sum, and construction will continue. Wang Yaozu still sounded sarcastic. Yunhai Group, your brow lifted slightly. You had long heard that the key family behind Yunhai Group intended to enter real estate. You didn't expect it to be true, and their methods were ruthless. You smiled crookedly, instantly amused. So, Boss Wang, are you willing to accept that? You asked. Accept it? Those bastards set me up. But there was nothing he could do. Boss Wang cursed helplessly. Brother, even if you contact me, I can't do anything. But don't worry. Old Wang, have always done honest business. My previous projects all had good reviews. You can ask around. There's no way out this time. I can only accept it. Even if you kill me, I can't come up with money to build right now. You're an owner, right? Just wait. I'll remember this. Give me 2 years. By then, whatever extra money you paid Yunhai, I'll refund it all to you. This guy actually has a conscience. You were secretly surprised. Come to my place. Buying houses with this money is no joke. This money might be able to help you, brother. What use is buying 10 units? To be honest, this isn't about money. Boss Wang smiled bitterly. I have $12 million, you said calmly. What? Boss Wang was startled. $12 million? Are you serious? If you really have $12 million, I'll sell you an entire building directly 11 floors, 2 units per floor. 44 apartments, plus parking spaces and storage rooms. But I need to say one thing first. This isn't just about money. It's about offending people. That's truly a fire sale price. You drew in a cold breath. Although the complex is a bit remote, its future looks promising. Others paid around $380,000 per unit. Now, it's less than $270,000. With parking and storage included, it's 40% off. As for offending people, That doesn't matter. I only have 2 questions. You stood up and paced back and forth. Yongcheng Bank, do you have connections for large transfers? Can we transfer it now? Yes, Boss Wang nodded. That loan is being pushed by the head office right now. Even in the middle of the night, they'd be willing to help. Second, if this money is recalled, can you keep it safe? You asked. Boss Wang froze. After a long while, he said, brother, is this dirty money? Whether it's dirty or not, does that matter to you? You asked back. True. Boss Wang pondered for a moment. $12 million? Fine. I'll handle it. When do we make the deal? Right now. If you arrive 1 minute late, the risk grows by 1 minute. You gave Boss Wang the address and then hung up. 15 minutes later, there was a knock at the door. You opened it, and a fat man came into view. 2 people followed behind him. He was probably afraid of being scammed, so he brought bodyguards. Sit. You pointed at the sofa, then handed the bank card to the fat man. Boss Wang, the rest is up to you. Boss Wang looked plain and a little disheveled. He hadn't even washed his hair. Leave it to me. He sat down when he heard that, first verified the money on your card, then took out his phone and began calling. Hello, brother Liu, hey. Of course I'll repay it. I got the money. I'll pay it back right away. Half an hour? Fine. I just need a favor. A younger brother is transferring money to me, but it's a large transfer. Please open the limit for him. Thanks. I'll buy you drinks later. The call ended. Boss Wang nodded slightly at you. Then he made several more calls. Qiangzi, the money I owe your company, I'll transfer it to you soon. But you'll have to lend it back to me. Don't worry. I found a way. I'll get through this time. Brother Gao, hey, I'm alive again. Don't worry. There's just a sum of money that needs to pass through your side. Yes. In the name of repayment and borrowing. It's fine. Don't worry. Old Liu, do me a favor. It's nothing. Don't worry. Just passing it through the books. Okay. We'll get together later. After a string of calls, you also received a text message. Your temporary large transfer function has been activated. Please complete your personal large transfer within 2 hours. This function is available under transfers and remittances. Thank you for supporting our bank. We wish your business prosperity. Give it to me. Boss Wang reached out and took the phone, opened the banking app, and quickly entered his own company's account. Soon, his own phone received a transfer notification. He returned your phone to you, then picked up his own phone and opened it. He quickly transferred different amounts to several accounts. Some were hundreds of thousands of dollars, some were over $1.5 million, and 2 were over $3 million. A few more minutes passed. Continuous text alerts rang out. Boss Wang picked up his phone and saw each transfer he had sent out come back under the name of loans. He then transferred the money into the company account, and then from the company account, repaid the loan. After finishing all this, he searched his call history and placed a call. Hello, brother Liu, did you receive it? Then this loan is settled. Ha. I met a benefactor. All right. About my new loan. Good. In 2 days, we'll talk face to face. The two talked for a few more lines. Then the call ended. Boss Wang visibly let out a breath. He was smiling from ear to ear, but his forehead was covered in sweat. Clearly, the pressure just now was heavy. Brother, thank you. If you ever need anything from me in the future, just say the word. Don't be polite. He wiped his sweat, then waved for his bodyguard to bring over a document bag. From it, he took out a stack of contracts. Take a look. If there are no problems, sign it. This is the best position building in Henjia Langshuan. I specifically kept it and never sold it, waiting until prices rose. Now it's all yours, brother. Consider it my thanks. You didn't look closely, and you wouldn't understand it anyway. To him, as long as the points were secured, that was enough. If the contract was fake, the bank wouldn't spare this fat man either. For you, the next step was dealing with the bank's recovery attempt. All right, you signed the contract. The two of you pressed fingerprints and stamped seals. Then each side kept 1 copy. The deal was complete. Brother, about this money. Boss Wang was a little curious. Should I ask or not? No big deal. You said calmly, the bank transferred it by mistake. Really? Boss Wang clearly didn't believe it. You opened the text for him to see. Old Wang immediately sucked in a cold breath. He gave a thumbs up. Brother, you're ruthless. Truly ruthless. This could get you jail time. No wonder you're not afraid of offending people. Whether I go to jail isn't certain. You said meaningfully, the bank can't deny municipal funds. My money has been spent. Your money is what the bank will be eyeing. Old Wang clearly thought of that too. His scalp instantly went numb, especially since he had helped open the large transfer. This is trouble. He had thought you had embezzled public funds, or that it was some kind of overseas money. For that kind of money, you could just fight a lawsuit, drag it out. What could they do to you? But this was the bank's money, and a local bank's at that. This was explosive. He suddenly regretted it. Provincial Old Liu definitely couldn't escape either. Everyone was done for. He could forget getting another loan from the bank. Everything was ruined. Think on the bright side. You spoke again. You're in the water. The people you contacted inside the bank are in the water too. The municipal funds are missing. The bank is desperate for the money. So where is the money? You don't have any either. So the bank can only lend you more money and let you keep building. Only once the houses are completed will there be money. Then everyone benefits and everyone survives. The unfinished project is gone. You get through the crisis. If Yunhai Group wants to move again, they'll have to see who's behind you. That's the bank, the municipal office, and the homeowners who won't stop making noise. This is the best solution. Everyone becomes stable. Once you finish the buildings and sell them, the price of my building will double. The bank not only recovers the money, it makes a big profit too. Why wouldn't they do it? Even if they don't, someone will be willing to take this $12 million and trade it for $22 million a year later. See, I may not go to jail. Everyone has a bright future. On the way back, Boss Wang sat in the back of the Mercedes. The more he thought, the more unfathomable you seemed. Incredible. Truly incredible. He sighed. Because of one mistaken bank transfer, this young man could do so much. His courage and strategy are incredible. Is he really that amazing? The bodyguard beside the boss couldn't help asking. Even more amazing than you think. Old Wang agreed deeply. He said in a low voice, don't spread what happened today for now. Understood? Yes, boss. In an old, traditional style private courtyard, a young woman went from full confidence to panic in less than a minute. What's wrong? Why the rush? Can't it wait until after dinner? A middle-aged man in an apron spoke softly. He was holding two dishes in his hands. He said with a hint of blame, you always say I'm busy and don't spend time with you. I finally came home today and made you two dishes. And this is how you treat me? The girl's face was a little pale. She said, I messed up. I transferred money to the wrong account. $12 million. The middle-aged man's brow furrowed slightly. Then he nodded and said calmly, unshaken, remember the lesson. Be serious when doing things. Money can't vanish into thin air. Just recover it. You don't need to worry either. If you're criticized, accept it. Treat it as a lesson. If you're fired, just change jobs. It doesn't matter. Nothing is a big deal. Panic solves nothing. Plan before acting. Think twice before you move. All right, I know. You lecture me every day. I'm leaving. The girl felt a headache coming. She put on her shoes, grabbed her keys, and hurried out. Your phone kept vibrating. You looked at the unfamiliar number and tapped speaker. Hello? An anxious voice sounded. It was soft and young. I'm Chen Yang. You said, hello, Mr. Chen Yang. Sorry to bother you. 2 hours ago, I transferred money to the wrong account. I just checked, and that money has already been moved. May I ask what you used it for? The soft-voiced girl was still anxious, but she was quite polite. Her attitude was good too. You couldn't help feeling a little guilty. This girl's job was probably gone. I bought unfinished houses, you said calmly. Units in Henjia Langshuan. The developer had no money to continue construction, so I simply used the $12 million to buy all his units. That way, he'll have money to keep building. Don't worry. Once the buildings are done, I'll sell them. When I get the money, I'll pay you back. The girl was stunned. Her voice sounded like she was about to cry. Don't joke with me. You bought it even though it's unfinished. What if they stop building? If they stop, isn't Yunhai still there? You couldn't help wanting to tease her. Your bank has already put in $12 million. Then just add a bit more. Be the bag holder, wait it out, and you can still make money. We only do finance. We don't do real estate. The girl panicked. At that moment, a burst of chaotic noise suddenly sounded. Then someone else took the phone. Hello? Hello, I'm Zhao Jiangguo, president of Yangcheng branch. I'm warning you, this money was transferred by mistake. It counts as illegal gains. You can go to prison for it. Then come arrest me, you said calmly. When I did all this, I had already decided to do it. I live at Culture Street, Wudong Alley, Unit 6, 6th floor, West door. Call the police. So you're dead set on being a deadbeat, huh? Zhao Jiangguo was furious. Getting worked up solves nothing. Think it through. If you can't figure it out, just call the police. The other side hadn't reacted yet, so you said nothing more and hung up. Arrogant. Too arrogant. Inside the Yangcheng branch conference room, everyone had different expressions. Only the soft-voiced girl still looked distracted. She was dazed, sitting in the chair anxiously. President, what do we do now? Call the police? No, wait. President Zhao sat in his chair, frowning in thought for a moment. Then he suddenly said, right, check it. Ordinary people can't transfer that much. Someone must have helped him. Could there be a mole? Also, check Wang Yaozu's account. See where the money went. Use every connection. This can't be hidden. But if we can explain it properly and recover the money, the higher-ups won't make too much of it. Although the amount involved is large, after all, it's just a wrong account transfer. Yes, everyone's faces changed slightly. The word mole was frightening. They couldn't help looking at the girl. The girl's face turned even paler. She really had transferred it wrong. It was only a work mistake. If she got labeled as a mole, that would become a criminal case. But at that moment, who cared about her expression? President Zhao slapped the table. Begin, everyone. Soon, all kinds of documents were placed before President Zhao. He looked at the documents, showing disbelief. Everyone around him was the same. They all found it hard to believe. The money was moved within 20 minutes of arrival. So decisive. President, after the money reached Wang Yaozu's account, in less than a minute, it was transferred into 8 accounts. All were company accounts. 2 of them weren't small companies either. Some are provincial capital companies, and some are local Yongcheng companies. We called to ask. They said it was money Wang Yaozu used to repay debts. President, based on my investigation of Wang Yaozu and his company accounts, I found that within a few minutes, those 8 companies then, under the name of loans, made 8 transfers back to Wang Yaozu's company account, totaling $12 million. There's something even more outrageous, President. After Wang Yaozu's company account received the money, in less than 3 minutes, it remitted the funds as repayment of a bank loan to the head office. The person in charge of this loan is Deputy President Liu at head office. We found it, President. According to the reply from head office, the temporary large transfer function on that account was opened after Deputy President Liu called and entrusted a colleague at head office. The mole is Deputy President Liu. Everyone looked incredulous. President Zhao was stunned. The mole is higher up. He took out his phone and made a call. Deputy President Liu was his old leader. He had once risen from the Yongcheng branch. If something happened to him, Zhao couldn't escape either. Hello, old leader, you're in trouble. Really, I'm not lying to you. And I'm not cursing you. Something huge happened. $12 million. You opened the large transfer. Okay, I'll wait for your call. After hanging up, President Zhao collapsed into his chair. He felt dizzy. It was just a wrong transfer. How did it involve so many people? In the past, money like this was recovered casually. Yongcheng City, Huqing City of Dongjiang Province, the head office and branch were all in Yongcheng. In the Deputy President's office, Deputy President Liu angrily dialed a number. He was so furious, he nearly had a stroke. Bastard! What are you doing? You made me open a large transfer for dirty money? Are you insane? Old Wang's calm voice sounded. Am I insane? Brother Liu, this is my only way to survive. Do you think I'm insane? Deputy President Liu fell silent, his head aching. They had run into a desperate man. This has nothing to do with me. They refused your loan. Even the one pressuring you for repayment was another deputy president, a man surnamed Zhou. To hell with him. I don't care who did it. We're all in the pit now. If we live together. If we die together. Live, my ass, Deputy President Liu said, holding back his anger. For this matter, once it gets reported, I'm finished. Do you understand? No, you still have a way out. Old Wang repeated the idea you gave him over the phone once more. So do you get it now? You're already in the water. You have no choice. And think about it. Once that building is finished, it'll be worth about $220 million. If the bank holds it, you'll have made a huge contribution. If a private party holds it, they'll clear $10 million in a year. How you choose is up to you. As long as this passes smoothly, I'll be fine, and you'll be fine. Yongcheng branch will be fine. If you're fine, everyone will be fine. Everyone gets a bright future. Selling a whole building for $12 million. Old Wang hated to let it go too. But he had no choice. Manhwa Group had too much influence. No one wanted to offend them. Surviving first was already good enough. If not for your unexpected appearance, his ending would have been set in stone. Deputy President Liu fell silent. If this had been before, he definitely wouldn't have helped. Of course he wanted that multi-million-dollar profit, but taking it meant offending Manhwa Group. They were also one of Yongcheng's pillar enterprises. The only way now is to make the mess bigger and drag more powerful people into the water. He has to save himself now. Even if it costs him money, he has to save himself. Will that kid agree to transfer the contract? That's a $10 million profit. You can't just take all the profit either. Old Wang knew from his words that he had compromised. He laughed. At least the kid won't go to prison. Without your help, he couldn't make that money anyway. It's still negotiable. He can earn a little less, or we can ask what conditions he has. Everything can be discussed. After all, this involves Manhwa Group. Deputy President Liu looked worried again. You know Manhwa Group's position in our province, don't you? With one move, they nearly forced you into liquidation. I can't bear that pressure. I need enough profit to pull someone else in. You have to bear it even if you can't. Otherwise, it's death. Old Wang said calmly. This is the only chance. The stage has already been set for me. If I don't take the gamble, won't that young punk laugh at me? Sorry, old Liu. Damn it. I'm going all in. Deputy President Liu slammed the table. At my position, can they really fire me that easily? I've got people above me too. Damn it, there will always be someone who can take the pressure and wants this money. I'll approve the loan you applied for before. Once this is done, the funds will arrive. The rest is up to you. Don't worry. Old Wang laughed freely. In Yongcheng, I still have some ability. Yunhai Group spent so long making these arrangements. This time, all the momentum they built is gone. Every trade is a world of its own. A company that started with bottled water randomly sticking its hand into real estate. How much do they really know about this industry? Let's leave it at that. Deputy President Liu was irritated and hung up directly. He took a deep breath, then solemnly picked up the phone and dialed again. At Yongcheng branch, Zhao Jiangguo hung up. He let out a breath and looked at everyone. Everyone was staring at Zhao Jiangguo, waiting for an answer. Zhao Jiangguo smiled. It's settled. Someone will come over first thing tomorrow morning. I'll go with them then and take a look. It shouldn't affect our branch much. All of you go back and rest. We're off work. Great. It's finally over. Everyone let out a sigh of relief, then got up and left. The soft-voiced girl looked at Zhao Jiangguo expectantly. Zhao Jiangguo thought for a moment and said, Lu Wangshu, go back and reflect first. Remember this lesson. If this matter passes smoothly, you'll be fine. If it doesn't, I understand. I understand. Lu Wangshu nodded again and again. She secretly breathed a sigh of relief. None of that mattered, as long as she wasn't labeled an accomplice or mole. Late at night, Lu Wangshu rode her e-bike home. Just as she changed her shoes, the light came on. Only then did she notice her father still sitting on the sofa, holding his phone. Dad! Lu Wangshu's eyes turned red. Feeling both warmth and grievance, she walked over and sat beside him. The middle-aged man remained calm and composed as he asked, Is it resolved? I guess so. Probably not yet. She wasn't very sure. Lu Wangshu explained what had happened and how things had developed. The middle-aged man pondered briefly, then suddenly laughed. This really is interesting. The key family faction of Yunhai Group has come up empty this time. That may actually be a good thing. The owners at Wang Real Estate have been protesting for days. If it can resolve itself, all the better. You're still laughing? I was scared to death, Lu Wangshu said anxiously. You have no idea. They all suspected there was a mole. I almost became an accomplice. If I had become an accomplice, you'd be finished too. Not at all. The middle-aged man raised his voice with a hint of dominance. Then he smiled and softly comforted his daughter. That accusation won't stand up to scrutiny. Just relax. Who knows how this will develop next? I'm afraid I won't be able to keep my job. Lu Wangshu sighed after hearing that. The middle-aged man smiled and stood up. There is profit in this. There is profit to be made, so someone will surely come to snatch the peach. No one acted before because of Yunhai Group's face. Now a young man with outrageous nerve has stomped Yunhai Group's face into the mud. Naturally, they'll have fewer reservations. Wang Real Estate sold low and lost a lot, but under a life or death crisis, that means nothing. Whether that kid knows it or not, he has thoroughly offended Yunhai Group. As for what happens next, everything temporarily returns to normal. Yunhai suffers a huge loss. Wang Real Estate makes a bloody comeback. Whether that kid loses or wins depends on how he sees it. If this wasn't pure coincidence, then it must have been a brilliant scheme. But even if it was coincidence, being able to use the situation and profit from the fire means that kid isn't simple. He's quick-minded and does things unconventionally. He's a talent. You were just caught in the crossfire. Don't overthink it. Go rest early. No staying up late. In the rental complex, you waited for a long while, but no police came. You understood the message. You ordered takeout, ate a few casual bites, browsed your phone for hours to follow the matter, then went to bed early. Early the next morning, your body hadn't woken naturally like this in ages. It truly felt refreshing. After washing up, you cooked some noodles and turned on the TV. The morning news was playing. Everything on the news was still calm and peaceful. The nation was prosperous and the people at ease. It was as if nothing from yesterday had happened. But just then, there was a knock at the door. You turned off the TV and got up to open it. Two people stood outside. One young man and one middle-aged man. Hello, I'm Hu Guanju. Nice to meet you. The young man reached out his hand. He was thin, wearing a well-fitted suit with a warm and refined smile. Hello. You smiled and invited the two of them inside. Seeing how shabby the rental was, the two became even more curious about you. With this level of composure, where exactly did his confidence come from? While secretly surprised and impressed, the two also grew worried. For someone like this, today's negotiation probably wouldn't go smoothly. You invited them to sit and asked, what would you like to drink? Plain water is fine. Hu Guanju answered out of habit. Only halfway through did he realize that asking for coffee in this rental was no different from making trouble. I haven't boiled any. You looked at the kettle, thought for a moment, then took out two large bottles of iced black tea from beside the sofa and placed them in front of them. You smiled. Have some tea. The family-size bottle is better value. Does this count as tea? Zhao Jiangguo fell silent. Hu Guanju, however, didn't mind. When I was in school, this was pretty popular too. I haven't had it in years. Fine. Let's drink this. It had to be said. Compared with a second-generation businessman like He Yuming, Hu Guanju was far more reserved and mature. You didn't come here just to drink tea, did you? Seeing Hu Guanju give you face, you also went straight to the point. We came for the building in your hands, Zhao Jiangguo said in a deep voice. The building was bought with the bank's money. Even if it was transferred by mistake, it's still illegal proceeds. We discussed it. Since a mistake was made, we should make up for it as much as possible. We'll transfer the municipal funds again. This matter will end here. You won't have to go to prison. But the building belongs to us. There shouldn't be much to argue about, right? You laughed when you heard that. Then how about this? I'll make up for it. The building stays with me, and I'll find someone to give you $12 million. The problem gets solved all the same, doesn't it? Does it? Zhao Jiangguo fell silent. All right, Uncle Zhao, stop testing him. Hu Guanju rubbed his forehead helplessly. Brother Chen isn't stupid. You want him to give you a building worth about $22 million next year? Besides, if this matter is pursued, Brother Chen won't be the only unlucky one. I came this time mainly to help you and Uncle Liu solve your trouble. The profit is secondary. We're all in the same boat now. Since we're all trying to fix the mistake and resolve this, let's speak frankly. As he spoke, he looked at you. Brother Chen, this matter involves Yunhai Group. Just relying on Yongcheng branch and Deputy President Liu at headquarters won't be enough to withstand the pressure. If you refuse to let go, the result will be mutual destruction. Yongcheng branch will suffer. Uncle Liu at headquarters will step down. You'll go to prison. Wang Yaozu won't get his loan. The buildings will remain unfinished. In the end, Yunhai Group still benefits. My old man can withstand the pressure, but although we're helping Uncle Liu and Uncle Zhao escape, this is still something that offends people. Name your conditions. As long as they aren't excessive, I can decide. Now that's more like it. You smiled and glanced at Zhao Jiangguo. I'm actually not interested in houses, but I am very interested in debt. How about this? Lend me $12 million. This building is yours. By this time next year, when the building sells for about $22 million, I will repay the $12 million I borrowed. Principal and interest. It's basically pure profit with no conditions. Impossible. Hu Guanju shook his head helplessly and said, no, it's not that I don't trust you. But the fact is, you've never run a business before. If I lend you $12 million, I'm afraid I may not even get $12,000 back. How about this? Listen to my offer too. $1.5 million. I'll give you $1.5 million. You transfer the building to me. Everything afterward has nothing to do with you. That means you make a clean $1.5 million. What do you think? Profit from an accident and win $1 million fortune from nothing. You're making a killing. If this happened to me, the money would be secondary. I could brag about this for half my life. $1.5 million. You pondered. That is not a small amount, but this is earned money, not debt owed. It won't count toward points. Without points, you can't exchange for technology. Without technology, what's the point of that $1.5 million? Actually using it to do business would be stupid. You'd probably lose it all afterward. You still understood yourself clearly. If you can overwhelm others, you can make money. If you honestly do business, you'll definitely bleed money. Playing schemes in the business world. You were still too young after all. As for cheating users and losing your conscience, you had such a bright future ahead. There was no need to dirty yourself. The two sides reached a deadlock. Obviously, neither was satisfied with the other's terms. I have an idea. Then Zhao Jiangguo spoke up with a suggestion. What idea? Hu Guanju and you both looked at him. You take the building. Zhao Jiangguo pointed at Hu Guanju. Then he pointed at you. You take the $1.5 million. Seeing both of you look confused, Zhao Jiangguo hurriedly said, then, the key point is what comes next. Brother Chen, you set up an asset, preferably one that can be talked up and whose value is hard to verify. Then you mortgage that asset and take a loan from our bank. Impressive. You raised an eyebrow when you heard that. The method sounded reasonable, but in practice, it wouldn't be that simple. It can work, Zhao Jiangguo nodded and said. If I were the one lending it, I wouldn't have the guts to approve this loan for you. But above me is Deputy President Liu. Above him is young Master Hu's old man. This can be arranged. As long as it isn't too obvious, no one can find fault with it. But there is one key point. Hu Guanju suddenly looked at you and reminded you, once you do this, you will truly owe $12 million. A contract like this, getting money out of thin air, will also carry very high interest. If you can truly mobilize large-scale wealth, fine. But if you're only doing ordinary business, I advise you to think carefully. What you earn may not even cover the interest. Don't mess it up, or you'll really go in. Don't worry, I have confidence. You nodded. Also, Zhao Jiangguo suddenly said, I need to add one thing. This involves such a large sum, and your situation is special. I need certain guarantees. So no matter what you want to do, the person managing the accounts must be from our bank, to prevent you from running into danger. Our bank will arrange two bodyguards for you. Their salaries will be paid by us. Finally, the most important point is this, that is, if the business you run suffers major losses, we can demand immediate repayment at any time. Good grief. You couldn't help looking at Zhao Jiangguo with new respect. The account manager is your person, which means the money can't be spent recklessly. It must be used reasonably. The bodyguards are your people protecting me, more like guarding against me, right? You're afraid I'll run. This is the only reasonable way to let you get $12 million. Zhao Jiangguo smiled bitterly. Don't look at me like that. If everything is lost, or if you run, the rest of my life is finished. Fine. I agree. You nodded. None of that mattered to you. What mattered was getting points at the end of month settlement, exchanging them for technology, then starting a crushing game. Losing money was absolutely impossible. What is technological dimensional suppression? You play a 2, I play a joker bomb. You play a 3, I play a joker bomb. You play a single card, I play a joker bomb. That's right, my hand is full of joker bombs. How could I lose? Sign the contract. Seeing you agree, Zhao Jiangguo didn't say anything more. He took out the prepared contract. Then he pulled out a blank sheet of paper and said, "You don't need to worry that I'll go back on my word afterward. I'll write you a letter of commitment. If I go back on my word, I'll go to prison with you." He began writing rapidly. After finishing, he pressed his fingerprint and signed his name, then handed it to you. Be careful with this. No one outside the two of us can know about it. Read the contents. If it's acceptable, I'll seal it. After your loan is completed, you must return it to me exactly as it is. It must not be opened halfway, because I can't be sure whether you'll keep your word. Zhao Jiangguo spoke solemnly. You took it, read it for a moment, then nodded. Go ahead and seal it. Zhao Jiangguo nodded when he heard that and took out a special envelope. He folded the commitment letter and put it inside, then sealed it shut. You could tell it seemed to use a special kind of glue. The smell was pungent. Ordinary methods definitely couldn't remove the letter without damaging the surface. All right, sign it. The contract was pushed over. You quickly signed your name, then you and Hu Guanju pressed your fingerprints. Happy cooperation. Hu Guanju let out a long breath and transferred $1.5 million to you on the spot. Happy cooperation. You stood up to see them off until the two left. Yunhai Group. You frowned slightly. Your actions this time could be considered a complete offense against Yunhai Group. The original owner had been a Yunhai employee, so he knew Yunhai very well. Yunhai Group was not a small company. It was a major enterprise spanning multiple industries, with a market value of several $billion. It ranked among the top 500 private companies in the country. Its main business was beverages. Mineral water, fruit-flavored soda, and juice. Beyond that, it made various health foods and canned goods, snack foods, instant noodles, self-heating hot pots, and the like. The original owner had previously been a food technician, specializing in the R&D of convenient leisure foods. When the original owner had just joined, Yunhai Group intended to enter dairy and finance markets. In the end, it lost everything. Its market value was almost cut in half. Only now had it recovered its strength. Entering real estate must have been driven by executives led by the Key family faction. In earlier years, housing prices kept rising, already drawing national attention. All sides were surrounding and blocking it, trying to restrain housing price growth. Real estate could almost be called a sunset industry now. Jumping in at this time, were they brain dead? Or trying to grab one last windfall before the frenzy ended? Thinking of what happened to Wang Real Estate in Yunhai Group's internal struggle, you felt some disgust. It was probably the latter, but since you had offended them completely, you couldn't just ignore it. Waiting for others to come cause trouble was not your style. You had to strike first. Your gaze couldn't help turning to the system, to its cheapest technologies. Healthy water quality enhancement tech, 5,000 points. Review, in my opinion, just buy gene purification fluid instead. Food and beverage formula optimization tech, 5,000 points. Review, this one's good. This one's good. Even in a rotten life, enjoy a good life. If you buy these two technologies, taking down Yunhai Group would be child's play. No, the targets should be world-class beverage brands. A mere Yunhai Group would just be collateral damage. Even collateral damage could slap them dead on the shore. Let's do it. You revealed a strange smile. You took out your phone and looked at the $1.5 million balance. After searching for a moment, you found an old classmate's number. Hello, Gangzi. I heard your hometown is some kind of longevity village, where the water nourishes people, and there's a natural water source there. I recently lost my job and plan to start my own business, so I want to visit your place. No need to ask for leave. Just show me around when you have time. Good. It's settled. I'll book a ticket and head over now. See you at noon. A little over an hour later, you unhurriedly opened the door. Once it opened, four people were actually standing outside. One of them had raised his hand and was about to knock. Both sides were startled. Damn, Seeing the two burly men in front of you, you quickly step back. Only then did you see Zhao Jiangguo standing behind them. President Zhao, what is this? You let out a breath of relief. Zhao Jiangguo was also startled. He was about to speak, but then saw the bag on your back and immediately grew suspicious. What are you doing? He couldn't help being suspicious, now that the matter was settled. The person who had lost the most, besides Yunhai Group, was him. To perform in front of young master Hu, he had taken the initiative to handle the follow-up. He had written you a commitment letter. At the time, he only wanted to show his ability in front of young master Hu. But after going back, the more he thought about it, the more afraid he became. Just to prove himself, he had left someone evidence that could keep him in prison for life. Was it worth it? He quickly pulled strings. He found two capable veterans, then personally selected a suitable accountant. All he wanted was one thing: insurance, just in case. And just then, he happened to run into you looking ready to run. You don't want that $12 million? Zhao Jiangguo asked. I do. You looked at Zhao Jiangguo in surprise, then understood. Speechless, you said, these are the bodyguards and accountant you found, right? You're way too impatient. The money hasn't even arrived yet and you've already brought people here. The money in my pocket is my own. I don't need you managing the accounts. Phew. Zhao Jiangguo secretly let out a breath of relief. He smiled and said, it won't be many days anyway. Once you've decided what to do and made the preliminary preparations, you can apply at any time. Once you apply, the funds will be approved. They all earn fixed salaries. Whether they come early or late, they get paid the same. Isn't this to ensure your safety? I trust you. Like hell. Are you doing this to make sure I don't run? You said, speechless. I've arranged to meet an old classmate. We're going to his hometown to inspect a project. If it works, we'll settle it quickly. I won't run, so stop worrying. I'm more anxious than you are. Take them with you. It's safer and easier, and someone can look after you. Anything dirty or tiring, just leave it to them. As he spoke, Zhao Jiangguo pointed to the fourth person. It was a young woman standing beside him. You looked up. The girl was quite pretty. Her cheeks still had a bit of baby fat. She wore a professional suit, young and bright, with a delicate face, striking, yet not vulgar, the kind who grew on you the more you looked. No way would she be doing dirty, tiring work. Old Zhao, what kind of anti-get-rich stunt is this? You wondered. The girl also raised her head. Her big eyes were full of curiosity and anger. Hello. My name is Lu Wangshu. From now on, I'll be your secretary, assistant, accountant, and personal housekeeper. Our bank president gave one order: stay by your side at all times. I hope you can accept that. Her soft, lamb-like voice rang out. Lu Wangshu secretly hoped you would refuse. She did not want to do this at all, but she had made the mistake. Zhao Jiangguo assigned her on the spot. She had no chance to refuse. Quitting was not an option. If she ran away after making a mistake, her father could lecture her for years. And if she resigned and ran, word would definitely get out. Then she would be finished. In front of relatives, friends, and her best friends. How could she hold her head up? She would be mocked for years. You know that girl, right? She worked at the bank and wired $12 million to the wrong account. Then she quit and ran. That's her. Just imagining it made her scalp go numb. She took a deep breath. Lu Wangshu stared at you, blinking. She was also curious. She had merely wired money to the wrong account. But this man had pulled off a shocking move. Even her arrogant father had called him a talent. He was so young. Was his mind really that sharp? And where did his nerve come from? Were there really people who seized a chance without fear? Did he not hesitate? Did he not waver? Did he not feel uncertain? Why was he so decisive? One wrong step, and he really could go to prison. While she was wondering, you heard that familiar, very recognizable voice, and suddenly understood. You're the one who sent the money wrong, right? Lu Wangshu's face instantly darkened. Zhao Jiangguo snorted twice. Exactly. It's her. Better let this ancestor harm someone else. This bank president has a heart condition. I can't take that kind of shock. You want her to manage my accounts? Now you were surprised. You pulled old Zhao aside and whispered, aren't you afraid she'll bankrupt me later? Absolutely not. Zhao Jiangguo's expression twitched slightly. He also started muttering inwardly, but outwardly, he forced a smile. When she was transferred to our bank, I looked over her file. Graduate of a top university. Accounting major, with all kinds of certificates. I couldn't believe it before. Why would someone like that come to our little temple? After all, if she went to a big investment bank or one of the major banks, they definitely wouldn't turn her down. Now that I think about it, heaven prepared her for you, Brother Chen. You are the strategist. She is the general. You two are a perfect match. He secretly thought. No wonder someone with such a good resume came to us. Her education is reliable. The person is not. Should I switch to someone else? But I already brought her here. Even if she makes mistakes, they should be controllable. You crafty bastard can definitely handle it. Thinking that, Zhao Jiangguo stopped being polite and said to you, Brother Chen, let's leave it at that. Whatever you need to do, take the three of them. Let me introduce them. This is Huang Gang, and this is Zheng Chang. They both retired from the military this year. They're tough army men. They can definitely keep you safe. What you actually mean is I definitely can't get away, right? You complained. Fine. Let it be them. It's just a few more mouths, a few more tickets, and 2 more beds. Then follow me. Brother, you get busy. I'll head back first. Young Master Hu and Boss Wang went to discuss business. They should be done by now. I need to see them off. Zhao Jiangguo said goodbye, then left in a hurry. When you heard the news, you paused slightly. This young master who was probably taking from both sides. No wonder he so generously gave $1.5 million up front. He would probably make plenty from Wang Yaozu too. But thinking about it, that made sense. Offending Yunhai Group for no reason, just for your few $1,000,000 of profit, might not have been worth his attention. Though he was doing it to save his own people, Wang Yaozu only survived the crisis because who bore the pressure. Giving up some future profit was only fair. Let's go. Set off for Yongcheng's Jinjiang New District Business District. Yunhai Group Tower stood there. Unlike the factories spread across Dongjiang Province, and even outside the province, Yunhai Group Tower was not responsible for production. It handled sales instead, coordinating distribution channels, online finance, and other areas. The founder of Yunhai Group was the late Qi Yunhai. The entire Yunhai Group once belonged to the Qi family. It was a family business. But after Qi Yunhai died a few years ago, his eldest son took control of the group. His eldest son was highly ambitious. He spent heavily to build Yunhai Tower and brought in capital from the financial world, expanding into finance, livestock, and other new industries. Unfortunately, he took steps that were far too large. In just 2 or 3 years, Yunhai Group suffered major defeats in several new industries. The group's assets were directly cut in half. Although after going public, splitting equity, and raising funds, Yunhai Group had managed to recover. Today's Yunhai Group was no longer controlled by the Qi family. The Qi family was more like a mascot. They held less than 15% of the shares. The remaining shares were mostly controlled by various capital groups. Though the eldest Qi son was chairman in name, in reality, he had long been sidelined. The current president of Yunhai Group was a professional manager named Fan Wenping. Fan Wenping was a man in his 40s. He was in his prime. He had served as an executive at many companies. Because of his outstanding ability, several capital groups jointly poached him to be president. Young, passionate, and cautious, full of energy and drive, extremely capable, with excellent vision, and a strong sense of the bigger picture. That was how many headhunters evaluated him. After becoming Yunhai Group's president, although he relied on capital support in just a short months, he completed the company's internal split and restructuring. He carried out major layoffs and streamlined the core team. He also used the chance to sideline the chairman completely. It had to be said, the man was very capable. He had capital's trust and the employees' support. Today's Fan Wenping held absolute authority inside Yunhai Group, just like the Qi family had in the past. At this moment, an internal meeting was underway. The big screen showed the whole incident from beginning to end. Using text and images, it laid out the entire cause and effect before everyone. A woman in formal wear spoke calmly. That is basically what happened. Although I do not agree with the group entering the nearly sunset real estate industry, since it has already happened, we absolutely cannot allow Yunhai Group's reputation to be trampled underfoot. This will lower capital's rating of us. On this matter, I hope everyone from the Qi family and everyone present can provide a solution. Director Zhang Wanning, you talk too much. Qi Yuming suddenly spoke from below. His expression was ugly. Am I talking too much? Zhang Wanning's cold, beautiful face showed no emotion. She said, if you lack ability, don't do things. The more you do, the more mistakes you make, and the easier it is to lose face. Director Qi, what do you think of that? Qi Yuming was furious. He shot to his feet. Fan Wenping, seated at the head, raised a hand and said, enough. Sit down. Don't argue. What I want now is a solution. Yuming, listen and sit down. The Qi family's eldest son, the current chairman Qi Ruihua, sat in the second seat. Everyone below secretly breathed a sigh of relief. The struggle at the top put them under immense pressure. A friend at the head office has already sent word. Pressure has been applied from above. Vice President Zhou says he can do nothing. Someone said. According to the investigation, it was the Dongjiang official in charge of finance and the economy who put in a word. Another person said. Can capital mediate this? Qi Ruihua looked toward Fan Wenping. It's already impossible. Some things involve more than interests. Deeper down, they involve many other things. We can only call it a strange coincidence. Fan Wenping shook his head. Are we really giving up? Qi Yuming was unwilling, especially when he saw that familiar face on the PPT. He hated him so much his teeth hurt. Was this revenge? Because of one damned woman? This revenge is a bit too ruthless. From now on, the Qi family's control over Yunhai Group has dropped another level. Bitch, this is all your fault. He wanted to go back and slap that woman senseless. If we don't give up, what else can we do? Here, people have always valued favors and rules. Capital's rampaging tactics don't work that well. An overseas returned executive spoke indifferently. Enough. Fan Wenping raised his hand again. It's only Wang real estate. Though the investment loss is not small, it is still within an acceptable range. As long as it's an investment, nothing is absolutely safe. Before doing this, we should have planned an exit if it failed. Although the unexpected factor this time was merely that nobody named Chen, Yunhai Group is not unable to lose. But we cannot lose to such an ordinary unknown nobody, especially one fired by our own group. What you need to do now is think carefully about how to recover our face and stop our rating from being downgraded. Once he said that, the meeting room fell silent. Just as Fan Wenping said, losing was normal. But losing to a nobody was not just irritating. The problem was how to recover face, and how to preserve the rating. You call it an accident, but outsiders still have to believe it. What we must do now is keep the rumors within a controllable range. Either let the outside world know Yunhai Group did not lose disgracefully, or let the outside world know Yunhai Group is not so easy to mess with. Alright, anyone with an idea, come to my office? After waiting a while and getting no answer, Fan Wenping could not sit still. He stood up helplessly. As soon as he and Qi Ruihua left, the meeting room instantly became noisy. The executives started discussing. This is tough. From the data, that kid is a complete loose cannon who was just fired by us. They say he's sick too. It's hard to take revenge on him. Yeah, he has nothing to lose. We can't even find a weakness to target. Why not expose what happened behind this? Are you crazy? This kind of thing can only be discussed in private. Think about how much it involves. As long as the big shots above don't get into trouble. If you do that, how is it different from kicking a monk at the foot of Spirit Mountain? That's right. This matter can't bring down anyone at all. They suffered no real loss. If it really gets out, we'll become the laughing stock. We were outmaneuvered by someone our own company fired. If all else fails, we can only use the old method. Hyping him up is also a method. As long as we make him sound impressive enough, our loss won't look disgraceful. I don't think that's realistic. In the past, hyping up major institutions was one thing. But how do you hype up one individual? Even if Zhu Liang were reincarnated, people would have to believe it. It really does sound a bit absurd. It's not just absurd to hype him up. When I think carefully about what he did, it's actually damn ridiculous. You only just realized. That PPT left me stunned. My whole body went numb. My head is still buzzing. Who made the decision to fire someone like that? That move was absurd. In the president's office, Fan Wenping sat down heavily. He had his secretary pour him a cup of tea, then rubbed his brow. What the hell is this? The methods those other executives could think of, he naturally could think of too. But those methods were either impossible to execute, or would become even more ridiculous if actually tried. In the business world, hype was widely used. When two sides fought commercially, the losing side often exaggerated it, made them seem magnanimous, and made it look like they were not weak, only that the opponent was too strong. In the end, it also subtly amounted to begging for mercy and admitting defeat. Give the other side enough face, and the matter ends there. Although business is like war, there is another saying, there are only eternal interests, not eternal enemies. Business conflicts are fought for profit. If you lose, you give up the profit. But it does not have to turn into hatred. After all, money can never all be earned. There may even be cooperation later. Fights to the death were rare, and it was hard to survive long in business that way. President, suddenly the secretary stepped forward and whispered, the supervisor of the Casual Food Development Technology Department says he has a way to solve this. He is waiting outside. Fan Wenping was a little surprised. I remember he's from that technical department, right? He was the one who approved firing Chen. Let him in. I'd like to see what method he has. Soon, the secretary brought a young man in. The young man had a slim build. He was neatly dressed, full of confidence. He looked as if victory was already in his grasp. Most importantly, he was not a Qi. He was so young and already a supervisor, and he was not from the Qi family. Could our company still have hidden talents? Did I really overlook people before, letting a strategist like Chen leave? While leaving this worthy talent frustrated, Fan Wenping pondered to himself. He felt it was time for a full talent review of the group. After he saw your absurd operation, the once plain business were now looked rather unsightly to him. In the past, when he read Romance of the Three Kingdoms, he always felt it was glorified and exaggerated. With insufficient information, no matter how intelligent a person was, it should be impossible to plan everything perfectly and win from 1,000 miles away. But today, he suddenly felt he should read Three Kingdoms again. Profiting from danger, building alliances across factions. You had taught him a lesson. Hello, President. The young man was full of confidence. Fan Wenping grew even more expectant. I heard from my secretary that you have a solution. Tell me what it is. Whether it works or not, I won't blame you. Fan Wenping lowered his attitude greatly, unconsciously imitating the TV drama manner of honoring talent. Thank you, President. The young man was rather excited. He first apologized and said, I'm sorry, President. I'm in charge of the technical department. I approved Chen's dismissal. He was ill and had worked too long, so I feared he would cause accidental losses to the company. After this incident happened, I felt a heavy sense of responsibility. I have failed the company. After all, he came from under me. We guarded against everything, yet still failed to stop him. He still caused the company such a huge loss. He is simply hateful, and we even gave him extra severance compensation because he left from my department. After the incident, I got the news immediately and instantly arranged for people to investigate him. As far as I know, in his former company's group chat, he mentioned wanting to buy unfinished buildings. Not many people knew about our plan against Wang Real Estate. Someone must have leaked it. We can accuse him and the leaker of stealing commercial secrets and send them to prison. Not feasible. Fan Wenping shook his head in disappointment. Many people knew about this matter, and in the end, this was the Qi family using its reputation against Wang Real Estate. It wasn't a secret. The charge of stealing commercial secrets won't stand either. The young man's eyes flickered. I've already found out his whereabouts. He went to Yuming Lake in Wei County. He is already ill. If someone were to give him a push, wait. Fan Wenping had a bad feeling. He asked, "You even know he went elsewhere? You found someone to follow him?" No, the young man shook his head. Only then did Fan Wenping breathe a sigh of relief. But then the young man smiled and said, "I have his file. I know his address. I hired 5 men to follow him. Now, as long as you give the order, President, those 5 can find a quiet place and push him into the lake. No one will know. No one will ever suspect us. That way, not only will we teach him a lesson, but anyone with sense will naturally not dare look down on us." Yunhai Group's prestige. Fan Wenping shot to his feet. He slammed his hand hard on the desk. His face flushed red. He roared, "Get the hell out." The young man froze. He was at a loss. Fan Wenping roared again. The young man was instantly frightened. He scrambled out in a panic. The secretary heard the commotion and was terrified. She quickly ran over. "Find out who hired him. Whose subordinate is he? Who works under him? Is he with the Qi family? Is he with the Qi family? Fire them. Damn it. Fire them all." Fan Wenping exploded. After hearing that, the secretary hurried away. Fan Wenping panted for a while, still furious. He paced back and forth in the office. He picked up his cup to take a drink, then smashed it to the floor in anger. Damn it. Damn it. I heard the Qi family's methods were dirty, but I never thought they were this dirty. I'm here to be a professional manager. Those bastards actually want me to act like the mob. Damn it, they want to drag me into the mud. The more Fan Wenping thought about it, the angrier he got. The more he thought, the more afraid he became. Luckily, he hadn't said whoever solved the problem would be rewarded. Instead, he asked for specific solutions. If he had phrased it differently, "You would probably already be a floating corpse." Wouldn't that make him the mastermind behind the scenes? A cold sweat broke out on his back. Fan Wenping picked up the phone and dialed. "Hello, Director Zheng Wanning. Come to my office. I've discovered some things. Our company still has some internal problems. There may be more layoffs for you to handle." After hanging up, Fan Wenping sat down. He rubbed his head. "What kind of people are these? The company isn't even yours. How much do you get paid in a year? What benefit did the Qi family give you to risk your life for them?" Yuming Lake, Wei County. The autumn wind blew. The water rippled. Sitting on a small boat, you sat cross-legged in comfort. Lu Wangsha brewed tea by herself to pass the time. You opened your phone, about to urge your old classmate, but saw a flood of WeChat messages. "Finance Department, Sun Miao Hey. You bought an entire building. Weren't you so poor you couldn't afford a house, so you went and bought an unfinished one? In the end, you bought a whole unfinished building, and it somehow didn't cost you money. Is that true? Hey, boss, if you got rich, just say so. Did you find working too boring and go home to inherit a billion-dollar fortune?" HR Department, Liu Yun. It's true. I saw the internal meeting materials. The name matches, the photo matches. It's him. Technical Department, Wang Kai. The whole building. Quality control, Zhao Hai. Damn, young Master Chen is that rich? Then was borrowing money from us, just experiencing ordinary life. Sales, Zhang Feng. I knew people were different. Some people are born as workhorses. Some pretend to be workhorses, but they're actually riding the horse. Technical Department, Zhao Nit. He borrowed from me last time too. I didn't give it. What a huge loss. Boss, let me cling to you. Besides the group chat also, there was also a DM from Sun Miao in finance. Bro, sir, dad, I'm begging you. Please don't tell anyone I leaked it to you, or I'm finished. You have no idea what earth-shattering thing you've done. The whole group is in an uproar. The executives are furious. You replied, "Okay, I'll repay you later." After Sun Miao from finance, you read the next one. It was from the tech supervisor. "Supervisor, do you know what you've done? Why would you do this? The company never wronged you. You should be grateful." You replied, "Idiot," then blocked and deleted him. The next message was from that bitch Jin Yalan. "Jin Yalan, where did you get so much money? Didn't you say you gave me everything? Liar, petty, stingy man. With that miserly attitude, even if you get rich, you'll never compare to young Master Qi." Blah, blah, blah. Your eyelids twitched as you read. Without hesitation, you replied, Yes, I didn't give you everything. There's still one thing I haven't given you. Hasn't your mother always been unwell? I'll send you her ashes later. Block and delete, all in one smooth motion. What kind of person is that? Now I've really seen it all, you sighed. Just then, your phone rang. You looked up. On the shore, someone was waving with a phone in hand. The boat soon docked. The man came aboard and looked in surprise at Lu Wangshu and Zheng Chang. Wang Gang asked, Yangzi, is she your girlfriend? And these two? You raised a hand and denied it. I'm single. This is my assistant, Lu Wangshu. They're Zheng Chang and Wang Gang, my bodyguards. Assistant, bodyguards. The newcomer was stunned. What's going on with you? I came to invest in your Wei County. You smiled and pointed at Yuming Lake. Gangzi, I plan to build a water plant here, to make beverages and mineral water. What do you think? Are you kidding? Gangzi was a little dazed. Forget everything else. Yuming Lake does connect to an underground river, so it won't run dry. And Wei County is known as a land of longevity. But there are no minerals here. It's just plain river water. Someone was peeing by the river just now. Only an idiot would buy it. That's exactly what I want. Impossible is pitiful. You looked confident, but complained inwardly, I can't afford a more reliable place anyway. What exactly is going on with you? Gangzi sat down in confusion, looking at Lu Wangshu and the two bodyguards, then back at you. It felt like a dream. Wasn't this guy a simp just recently? How did he suddenly make it big? You gazed at the sparkling lake under the sunlight. Does this lake count as natural water? Why hasn't it been turned into a scenic area? You're serious? Gangzi still found it hard to believe, but he still answered, Yangcheng is the provincial capital. There are many scenic areas around it. Although Wei County is under Yangcheng's jurisdiction, it is still a little remote, and most young people from Wei County go to Yangcheng for work. Even the local economy here can't take off, let alone tourism. The reservoir is nice, but it's too far out. Turning it into a scenic area would mean major construction. It's not worth it. The county considered it before, but gave up after comparing everything. Still, if you really want to lease this reservoir, the price won't be low. Gangzi worked in the system himself. Wei County was his hometown. After graduating, he returned and took a government post. He knew Wei County inside out. How much? You asked. Hard to say exactly. Gangzi frowned slightly. After thinking for a moment, he said, this reservoir isn't small, but it isn't too large either. Because it connects to an underground river, fish farming isn't really possible. I remember someone wanted to lease it a few years ago, but gave up after hiring experts to test it. The county's asking price then was about $3 million for 30 years. At that, Gangzi couldn't help saying, Yangzi, stop messing around. Where would you get that kind of money? Even if you have money, don't waste it like this. Take my advice. Let's go eat now. After lunch, go straight back to Yangcheng. You can't throw money down the drain like this. Don't you know me? You laughed. I have absolute confidence. Think about what I do. If I dare start a business, would I not have some foundation? What do you do? Non-staple food development. Gangzi hesitated slightly. Then he thought of the company you work for, Yunhai Group. It had started by selling mineral water. Did he master some core technology? But what damn core technology could mineral water have? Still confused, Gangzi asked, you're really not joking? Really not? Fine, I'll ask for you. Gangzi was straightforward too. He took out his phone and made a call. He stood up and went to the bow, chatted for a while, then thanked them repeatedly. I asked a friend, if you really want it, you can negotiate. Probably around $2.2 million. Still for 30 years. Thanks. You nodded and looked at Lu Wangshu. You go negotiate. Under $1.5 million. For 20 years. Lu Wangshu pointed at herself in disbelief. You rubbed your chin. You're the only top general under me right now. Who else should go? Seeing that Lu Wangshu wanted to argue, you added, or call your president and ask him to send someone capable. Lu Wangshu immediately lowered her head. She was conflicted and aggrieved, wanting to argue but unable to. The president had already said if she got replaced, she could pack up and leave. She couldn't accept that. Fine, I'll go. Lu Wangshu gritted her teeth. Bring the boat ashore. She left with Zheng Chang. After all, the director wasn't business material. This time, no matter what others thought. To him, the profit was all because he wasn't afraid of prison. He had the system as his backup, plus a stroke of coincidence. All that strategy and thousand-mile foresight was nonsense. He was just an ordinary person. He had always believed one thing, let professionals handle professional matters. Don't mess around blindly. Compared with a financial elite like Lu Wangshu, you felt all you could do was lie flat. Enjoy yourself, crush them with technology, then start counting money. He didn't understand the details. Let's go drink, you said. Forget it. Gangzi instead grew worried. Is it reliable to let her go? Shouldn't we go take a look too? Trust her. Without further explanation, you dragged Gangzi into a farmhouse restaurant by Yuming Lake. You ate and drank until afternoon. Lu Wangshu finally returned with Zheng Chang. She sat down weakly. Looking at the leftovers on the table, she felt even more wrong. After working for hours without eating, she came back to leftovers. What kind of divine boss was this? Done, you asked? Lu Wangshu said weakly. $1.3 million for 20 years. I pushed the price to the bottom. They said any lower and they couldn't answer to higher-ups. Besides, they clearly don't want to let a sucker like you get away. They said the sooner, the better. The contract can be signed this afternoon. Impressive. A true professional. You gave her a thumbs up and told the owner to bring more dishes. Only then did Lu Wangshu feel a little better. Seeing your raised thumb, the corner of her mouth lifted. After lunch ended, you called a car. First, you sent Gangzi home. Then you took the three of them straight to the county office. Mr. Chen. Hello, Mr. Chen. The one receiving you was a balding middle-aged man surnamed Liu. He was Wei County's deputy county chief in charge of investment promotion. He looked very amiable. After both sides sat down, you reviewed the agreement and signed your name. Deputy County Chief Liu stepped forward and shook your hand, smiling. I hear you're leasing the reservoir to build a water plant. If you need help from our county, just let us know. This is my business card. You're too kind, sir. You smiled and shook his hand. Leasing the reservoir is only the first step. The water plant, food factory, and beverage processing plant will all follow. I hope the county can make things easier then. Of course, of course. Deputy County Chief Liu beamed. Wei County being close to the provincial capital was good, but not entirely good. The good part was that people could commute nearby for work. The bad part was that the county had trouble standing out. Now that someone had come to build a factory, it was a good thing no matter how you looked at it, even if the industry looked ridiculous at first glance. After saying goodbye, you took the three of them back to the hotel. You photographed the contract and sent it to Zhao Jiangguo. President Zhao soon called you. Brother, you're not kidding me, are you? You leased a reservoir for $1.3 million? President Zhao said excitedly. Didn't we agree to build an industry that sounds impressive and whose value is hard to verify? With this broken reservoir, you can't get a damn loan. Even I wouldn't dare lend you $12 million. The water quality is excellent. Drinking it can increase longevity. You said. You're bluffing even me, President Zhao said speechlessly. Brother, don't say I'm unwilling to help. This really won't work. I'm not lying. You looked at the health water quality enhancement technology in the system. Why was it called healthy water? Why not call it purified water or something? Because it wasn't mineral water, nor was it purified water. It was water that, after treatment and enhancement, was beneficial to the human body. Calling it water was less accurate than calling it a health supplement. And it was a genuine health supplement. The system had one comment about this thing: instead of buying this, buy gene purification fluid. What did that mean? It meant this thing possessed some of the effects of gene purification fluid. Maybe less than 1%, or even 1,000th, but it was still effective. Unfortunately, the points hadn't arrived yet, so you couldn't produce a sample. The two sides argued for over 10 minutes. Neither convinced the other. Forget it. Zhao Jiangguo felt exhausted and stifled inside. He wanted to speak more harshly, but couldn't. The kid had dirt on him. If the kid couldn't take the blow and reported him directly, he'd be finished. Luckily, he had arranged bodyguards and an assistant in advance. As long as Lu Wangshu kept watch, there probably wouldn't be trouble. Once losses started, they could directly withdraw the remaining loan. Then seal the factory and package it for resale. Even if part of it was lost, at least it wouldn't all be wiped out. He was helping young Master Hu. Presumably, young Master Hu would pull him out then. Even if he lost his position as president, it was still better than going to prison. Thinking this, Zhao Jiangguo's face turned ashen. He said weakly, I'll have Lu Wangshu prepare the full documents. The funds will be released within 3 days. Think carefully. If you can't repay it, you'll go to prison. Take care of yourself. The call ended. As for the director, he never thought about what would happen after crushing others with that black technology. On the other side, Zhao Jiangguo's expression shifted. He regretted it deeply. After thinking for a while, he called Hu Guanju. That's exactly it. Yes, I think I'm done for. That kid is no good. He doesn't know how to do business at all. All right, thank you. I guarantee it's true. That kid has absolutely no business sense. He borrowed $12 million to sell mineral water. With sensitivity? Fine. I understand. Then that's it. In a residential area of Yongcheng, Hu Guanju hung up in surprise. He couldn't figure it out. At the dining table beside him, an old man was slowly drinking porridge. Seeing this, he asked, is there a problem? Nothing major. Hu Guanju frowned, then explained the whole situation. I thought that man was worth befriending. But what kind of move is this? Putting $12 million into mineral water? Not to mention the national market is long occupied by big brands. Even here in Dongjiang, the giant Yunhai Group firmly controls the beverage market. How is this any different from courting death? Extraordinary people take extraordinary steps. The old man slowly wiped his mouth and said calmly, when you're old, nothing seems strange anymore. Madmen have their own ways. The winner is king. Don't look at what he does. Look at what results he produces. If he dares do this and isn't stupid, then he must have backing. Now it depends whether that backing makes him worth befriending. Grandpa is right. Hu Guanju suddenly understood. The next day, after spending a night in Wei County, the four of you took the high-speed train back to Yangcheng. According to Lu Wangshu, since everything was prepared, it was time to hire people. She didn't understand running a company either. They needed professionals. You thought that made sense too, so you only slept until AM. By the time they arrived at the talent market, it was already 11:30. Some companies recruiting there had already started packing up. Lu Wangshu couldn't help complaining. I called you several times before you got up. Great, now look, it's all ending. How are we supposed to hire? Leave it to fate? Like drying beans, the big ones must have tempers. They won't easily accept those companies' low pay and benefits. You didn't care. The money hadn't arrived yet. A day sooner or later made no difference. With the black technology, as long as the people hired weren't idiots, they would accomplish something. Lu Wangshu rented a booth and put together a temporary sign. Then you sat down casually. People passing by saw this scene and their eyes lit up. But few dared step forward and recommend themselves. After all, there was an assistant and bodyguards. The bodyguards stood like door gods. This setup didn't look like ordinary recruitment. But there are always exceptions. A few minutes later, an unkempt, bearded, dispirited uncle walked up and sat down heavily. What positions are you hiring for? Everything. What do you want to do? You asked. Everything. The uncle laughed. Are you hiring a general manager? Do I work? I think you do. You took out a contract and placed it on the table. Sign it. The contract had been prepared by Lu Wangshu. The company had been set up yesterday. With Deputy County Chief Liu's help, the uncle froze. Lu Wangshu also looked at you in shock. That casual. You smiled. What? Don't you dare. Why wouldn't I? The uncle opened the contract. Shanghai Beverage and Food Co., Ltd. Just established yesterday, in Wei County. Looks like it's still being built. How much salary are you offering me? You shook your head. I don't know what you're worth. But you must know what you're worth. Write down the position and salary yourself. As long as you're confident enough, even $150,000 a year is fine. Well, damn. Zhang Lehai laughed. His career and love life had both failed. After sulking at home for 2 months, he hadn't expected to meet a madman outside. But madmen were good. Everyone thought his life had failed completely, yet the stranger before him was willing to trust him and give him a chance. A surge of ambition rose in his heart, and he felt faintly moved. You won't regret this. Zhang Lehai wrote general manager under position, and $120,000 per year under salary. Then he put down the pen. At this price, I'm absolutely not expensive. I'll prove my worth. Very confident. You gave him a thumbs up and stood up. What are you sitting here for? Zhang Lehai was stunned. What else? Recruiting. You said, I have no recruiting experience. Every field has its specialty. Since you're the professional, you do the hiring. Zhang Lehai felt even more moved. He had just signed, and authority was already delegated. What immense trust. He stood up and took the recruiter's seat. Mr. Chen, boss, don't worry. Since you trust me, just tell me what positions to hire for. Leave the rest to me. Right now, our company only has the boss's assistant, the boss's bodyguards. And the only employee, you, the general manager. Hire whoever you think we need. Zhang Lehai's head went cold. He instantly sobered up. All the emotion in his heart vanished. He even wondered if he'd been scammed. Was this a rich second-generation startup, or some shell company? Not only was this boss young, he was frivolous. At the start of a company, he first got himself a pretty assistant and 2 bodyguards. Was that shocking? Was this company just for fun? What are you afraid of? You patted his shoulder and painted him a big picture. This is an opportunity to train yourself, an opportunity to build a company from nothing into something. Treasure it. Once you've completed the process of building a company from zero, even if you look for another job later, you can add a special line to your resume. Then why don't I start my own business? Zhang Lehai instinctively retorted. Do you have money? You asked. That really was a lethal blow. Zhang Lehai fell silent and broke down. Zhang Lehai immediately said, I understand. Then we'll go eat first. We'll bring you something when we get back. You grinned and left with Lu Wangshu and the others. Zhang Lehai clenched his fists. Why the hell did I feel touched? This damn boss really isn't human. Forget it. Let's see how it goes. He hadn't signed any confidentiality or non-compete agreement anyway. There was no penalty for breach if things look wrong. We quickly left the job market. The 4 of us found a hot pot place. We ordered every house specialty. It was a mid to high-end place, so one meal cost at least $300 to $450. Compared with before, I was spending like water. It left me with mixed feelings. Whether it was this body's original owner or my previous life, when had I ever spent so freely? In my past life, I worked non-stop, just to earn a pathetic salary to pay rent. In this life, I became a simp working 996 until I worked myself to death. I never had a single good day. What was this called now? Revenge spending. Was it only because I had money? After facing death twice, I had seen through many things. Everything was empty. Maybe living in the moment with no regrets was real. In this life, with the system aside, even if I had no system, I had decided to live more freely. But in Lu Wangshu's eyes, everything I did seemed odd. After 2 days together, Lu Wangshu had an indescribable feeling. He came from a decent family and had met all kinds of people, especially with his father lecturing him daily. He had matured early since childhood. He was confident that no matter who it was, he could always read a little into them. But with me, he was confused. If using his mistaken transfer to seize profit and make millions meant I was a strategist with astonishing methods, then throughout that process, the psychological pressure I endured must have been astonishing too. That was enough to prove I was cunning and wise, bold, unshakable, unconventional in action, and fearless at heart. Once a person like that rose up, shouldn't he control the whole game and snowball fast to fulfill his life ambitions? It wasn't as if Lu Wangshu had never heard of such people. In gray industries, or during the rise of certain companies, there were similar figures. Without exception, those people all developed rapidly and unscrupulously. They were extremely guarded and deeply suspicious. So why was it different with me? This guy had just made money and immediately wanted loans. That made sense on paper. After all, loans were a shortcut to growth. But this guy went into mineral water. That was truly ridiculous. The craziest part was that he didn't want to manage anything. Yesterday, he made him handle the Wei County handover, and today, recruiting was this casual. He actually gave a stranger he had just hired the general manager position, then let him recruit people. Wasn't he afraid of being sidelined? Wasn't he worried about being cheated? Lu Wangshu understood his boss less and less. What is your dream? Lu Wangshu couldn't help asking. Dream? I laughed. When bosses talk dreams with employees, that's empty promises. What is it when an employee talks dreams with the boss? Are you trying to sell me a dream? Lu Wangshu froze. That's not what I mean. I really can't understand your actions these past 2 days. What exactly do you want to do? What I want is actually simple. Seeing Lu Wangshu so serious, I became more serious too. Before yesterday, my dream was to own a place, have a car for getting around, and some savings, so life wouldn't be so miserable. But now it's different. How is it different? Lu Wangshu was curious. Zhang Chang and Wang Gang also looked at their boss. They already knew what I had done. While admiring me, they were also curious about how someone who had suddenly gotten rich planned his future. They related to it deeply. A house, a car, and savings were most people's dreams. Now, I have 3 dreams. I raised 3 fingers. First, to live more comfortably and not worry about money. The 3 nodded. That dream was realistic. Second, I want to see the view from higher up. With human technology where it is today, as long as you have money, you can do most things. But there are still things current technology can't do. So I will personally enter the field and set off a technological revolution. I will realize my value in life and lead technological progress. The 3 hesitated slightly, but eventually nodded. It sounded a bit boastful and empty, but what if the boss really got rich selling mineral water? After all, if he was even talking nuclear fusion, selling high-tech mineral water wasn't that absurd. What's the third? Lu Wangshu asked. Since I was little, I heard the saying, if everyone in China lent me 15 cents, I'd have over $150 million. Have you heard that? I asked. The 3 nodded. Everyone in the country had probably heard it. What does that have to do with dreams? My third dream is to owe debt. Combining my system with my own thoughts, I laughed. If the entire country, even the entire world, became my creditors, don't you think that would be a very interesting thing? The 3 exchanged looks. Interesting? Not interesting at all. Just thinking about it was crushing, especially Zheng Chang and Wang Gang. They both came from poor backgrounds and had seen too many people broken by debt. Seeing the 3 fall silent, I shook my head slightly. I could only say they owed too little. Like a certain mega developer in my past life, the more it owed, the better it lived. Things reverse at the extreme. A little debt is pressure. A lot of debt is enormous pressure. But the most debt means others feel the pressure. When your debt is enough to crush everything, everyone will help you, because your collapse is an economic nuclear bomb that will destroy everything. And that's just pure debt. If there is also black technology that lets you make crazy money while owing debt, then that feast will sweep over everything. I won't need to deal with anyone who blocks me. My creditors will tear them apart. Look past appearances to the essence. It seemed absurd, but reality was even more absurd. The hot pot was served. Everyone praised it as they ate. Expensive things basically have no flaw except the price. After finishing the meal, we had the waiter pack some cooked ingredients. Wang Gang took the bags on his own. The 4 of us headed back to the job market. The 2 places were very close. Across the street, it was only a few hundred meters. When the four of us arrived, Zhang Lehai was training a crowd. We are a startup company. Everything is waiting to be built. Everything starts from scratch. This process may be tiring, but there is no doubt that as long as you stay, you will all be founding members. Don't always think about what the company can give you. Think first about what you can create for the company. We are a food and beverage company. Market channels and sales are obviously the top priority. Each of you is relevant talent. That is why I want you to stay. Our big company is great? Not necessarily. The competition is intense, and promotions and raises are hard. Our small company is great? Not really. The work environment is poor, the pay is low, and sales are hard. So what kind of company is best for working people like us? A startup. During the startup stage, the boss is willing to spend. Promotion is easy, and although competition is intense, making money is definitely simple. Why? Because even if you can't make money outside, you can still make money from the boss. Think about it carefully. If the company collapses, it doesn't matter. It means the product wasn't competitive. If the boss fails, it doesn't matter. It means his vision was bad and he chose the wrong industry. What do we lose? Nothing. So, brothers, listen to me. Sign the contracts and work hard. If we do well, we make big money. If we don't, we still make a little. As the general manager, I will absolutely stand with you. The atmosphere was fired up. Those who were hesitating no longer hesitated. No matter how you think about it, we don't lose. That makes sense. Even the general manager said so. What are we hesitating for? Let's do it. Take the chance. Give me a contract too. Behind them, Lu Wangshu and the others were stunned. Is this how you recruit people? Bro, we're hiring you to sell mineral water, not run a pyramid scheme. What a talent. I couldn't help sighing. I never expected the random general manager I hired to be a pyramid scheme genius. As the saying goes, those who labor with their minds rule others, while those who labor with their bodies are ruled by others. No wonder this old guy looked so down and out, yet dared ask for the general manager position. Clearly, he was a manager who knew how to scheme and use his brain. Hearing me, Zhang Lehai turned around and looked at me awkwardly. Sweat began forming on his forehead. Damn it, did the boss hear everything I just said? Am I getting fired right after taking the job? Well said. I patted Zhang Lehai's shoulder encouragingly. You really are a genius. Don't worry, I don't blame you. Eat. I took the stack of food boxes from Wang Gang and placed them on the table. I told Lu Wangshu to help them with the contracts, then pulled Zhang Lehai down to sit. Looking at the table full of rich food, Zhang Lehai suddenly felt how much his boss valued him. Boss, what should we do next? I looked at those signing contracts and asked, how is recruitment going? More or less enough to keep the company running. Basic workers can be recruited in Wei County, but there is one very important issue. Zhang Lehai thought briefly and said, I used to be a professional manager. Though I wasn't exactly famous, I have studied industries like food. In this industry, the core is R&D, management, and sales. Management is the easiest. At the startup stage, I can handle more. Later, for procurement, manufacturing, distribution, and other talent, we can recruit slowly or promote internally. Sales is manageable too. These people all used to work in sales. Manage them together for now, and a makeshift team can start working. But for R&D, does our company have a product? How much is the company prepared to invest in R&D? That is a problem. Zhang Lehai looked at me. This issue was crucial. Anyone entering this industry must surely have core technology first, meaning formulas for food and drinks, before starting. In Zhang Lehai's view, I should be the same. But you can never be too careful. If his boss was just a reckless newbie with nothing, yet still wanted to do this, then they were screwed. The people would be hired for nothing, and the contracts signed for nothing. He might as well pack up and leave. Relax, I nodded. We have a formula, and it is a unique product with tremendous market value. You can rest assured, the priority now is building the plant, buying custom production lines, and procuring raw materials. Hearing that, Zhang Lehai breathed a sigh of relief and smiled. Then that is simple. I took a look. Our company's factory site is at Yuming in Wei County. That place has mountains and water. It is already a production area for Wei County's construction materials industry. Transport is convenient and fast. Once the project is set, it can be built in under half a month. That fast? I was surprised. You can't calculate it like that. Zhang Lehai shook his head and said, the first thing built will definitely be the plant. That can be assembled directly with steel structures. That's the simplest part. Most of the time will be spent on site leveling and paving, plus building the factory walls. Overall, if we push the schedule, production can definitely start in half a month. But employee dorms and office buildings won't be that fast. Although our company is small and only needs a few 3 to 5 story buildings, it will still take several months. Good, I praised him. Since you're the general manager, I will delegate authority to you and let you build a beverage factory from scratch. As long as you do well, don't worry about promotions or raises. This food and beverage company is only a small experiment of mine. As long as you are capable, I will give you a bigger platform in the future to show your ambitions. Zhang Lehai's heart stirred when he heard that. He began to make some guesses. Why was his boss so casual? Why did his boss act completely unconcerned? Right. He must be a rich second-generation heir, or have some enormous backing. This company looked like a hobby project. And in reality, it very likely was. But the boss could treat it like a game. He couldn't. He had to perform well. If he performed well, taking a deep breath, Zhang Lehai's passion surged. Boss, don't worry, big or small, I will handle everything clearly for you. Just watch my performance. Good grief. I glanced at him in surprise. This guy trusted me that much? Still, that was a good thing. After thinking, I said, then I'll leave the rest to you. Take the team to Wei County tomorrow. Do whatever needs to be done. I'll provide you with $7.4 million. Next month, I want to see the factory built. A normal beverage company's filling production line must also be ready. Rest assured, $7.4 million just for building and buying lines. This was already not a small factory. Even as a hobby, he was playing big. What kind of confidence did the boss have? How big was his background? How deep were his family resources? Zhang Lehai grew even more excited. For invoices and expenses, just go to him for reimbursement. At this point, I pointed at Lu Wangshu and said to Zhang Lehai, yes, boss. Zhang Lehai quickly stood up and asked Lu Wangshu for his contact information. Lu Wangshu's eyes looked very strange. He could also tell Zhang Lehai seemed to have misunderstood. But the loan involved too many parties, so it was destined never to be made public. So he said nothing more. After the formal discussion, I left with my people. Everything else was thrown to Zhang Lehai. Even the next day, when Zhang Lehai took people to Wei County, I didn't go at all. I only gave a few instructions over the phone. 2 days later, the $12 million loan arrived. Lu Wangshu handled the whole process. Only at the very end did I go sign my name. Several more days passed. Finally, on the night of June 30th, in the rental apartment, I put down my phone and walked to the bedroom. In the living room, Zheng Cheng and Wang Gang exchanged puzzled looks. They had followed me for many days. I didn't seem like a rich man at all. Instead, I was like an ordinary person. Aside from spending more on food and drink, basically nothing else had changed. I still lived in this rental apartment and hadn't bought a car. It was as if I had lost all desire for houses and cars.